Yo, what's going on, y'all boys? I know y'all not used to me doing this before video, but I want to give a huge shout out to my girlfriend. She just released a book not too long ago called Behind Closed Hearts. This is a novel discussing the generational curses and trauma that we face in this world today. This book is based on 4 characters who are all experiencing changes in lives. It also depicts on how, as a culture, we suppress traumatic experiences, which then creates generational chaos because of repeated cycles. Me reading this book, I honestly could vividly see myself like just in the book. Like, and that's where when reading books, you really cannot imagine or see yourself in the particular situation, or you just behind the scenes or whatever it is. Like, you know what I'm saying? I also highly recommend this book to a lot of my melanated brothers and sisters out there. When I tell y'all, this book is crazy. I don't know about y'all, but me personally, I love to read and actually feel like that I'm in the book. And I can promise y'all with reading this, I have also told her this, the beginning to the end of the book, I can honestly feel the emotions from every character, I can honestly just imagine me there. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but y'all understand what I'm saying. Like, this book is amazing. Honestly, this book needs to get out to everyone. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's crazy talented. I need to shut up for real, because I feel like I'm actually probably spoiling it for y'all. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want to do that. So if you want to show some love, man, all you have to do is click the first link down below in the description. It's also going to be the first link pinned in the comments. You're going to click that link. It's going to take you to the website where you will be able to purchase Behind Closed Hearts. Let's sell it out right now. I need everybody to stop what you're doing, go and purchase the book and sell it out. I want break the button, break the internet, break the website. You know what I'm saying? Y'all make that move, man. Let's get it. Behind Closed Hearts. We love. Yeah. What's going on, y'all boys, man? You already know what time it is, man. We back again with another reaction. Yeah. And today, we have a pretty confusing video. I know I say crazy, but I said confusing. But before we get into anything, man, I'm gonna need y'all boys to go crazy on that like button, man. It will literally take 5 seconds out of your day. It's that simple. And before we get into anything, man, I'm gonna need y'all boys to go follow me on Twitch, man. It will literally take 5 seconds out your day. The boy became an affiliate on Twitch. Now the boy is doing reactions live. So if y'all boys want a chance to feature in the video, whatever it is, if y'all just want to come and show me some love, man, click that first link down in the description, and also click the link pinned in the comments. I will pin my Twitch and all that. So if y'all boys want to come and show me some love, come drop a sub, man. Come drop a follow, whatever it is, man. The boy is on Twitch with it now, man. But look, hey, today's video that we're reacting to is called 91-year-old woman visits doctor and reveals she's been pregnant for 60 years. So y'all let me know y'all thoughts on this entire situation. I don't want to do too much talking, but we finna get right into it, man. Just make sure if y'all boys enjoy this video, y'all smash the like button, comment, and also subscribe for your boy, man. But remember, if you subscribe, you have to hit them post notifications, because if you don't, the subscribe does not count. You gotta get notified when your boy posts another banger, man. But let's get it. Yeah! 91-year-old woman visits the doctor to reveal she was pregnant for 60 years. It had been an extremely hard year for the 91-year-old 𝐒𝐨𝐤𝐿 Melendez. Her husband had passed away and her health was on a quick decline. After suffering from a fall, 𝐒𝐨𝐿 had to be taken from her village to the nearest hospital, only to discover something that would rattle her, the doctors, and the world. As it turned out, she was pregnant. 91-year-old 𝐒𝐨𝐿 Melendez and her husband Manuel Gonzalez were living a life that many would describe as blessed. Living in the tiny Pacific coastal community of La Boca, Chile, several hours outside of the capital, Santiago, they shared an inseparable bond that had carried them through an astonishing 74-year marriage. That's amazing. Married for 74 years is amazing. So they had to have been a what? Like 23 or something when they get married, but 74 years is amazing, man. For real. Let's go ahead and get into this video.
It had been an extremely hard year for 91-year-old 𝐒𝐨𝐿 Melendez. Her husband had passed away and her health was on a quick decline. After suffering from a fall, 𝐒𝐨𝐿 had to be taken far from her village to the nearest hospital, only to discover something that would rattle her, the doctors, and the world. As it turned out, she was pregnant. Hello, wonderful people. Scott Leffler for Wonderbot. And here is 91-year-old woman's visit to the doctor reveals she's been pregnant for 60 years. Before we begin, make sure to smash that like button.
I wonder how does that go though? Like how does somebody be pregnant for 60 years and a baby like passes away and you're like, don't you have some type of smell? Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell for more amazing videos. 91-year-old Estela Melendez and her husband Manuel Gonzalez were living a life that many would describe as blessed. Living in the tiny Pacific coastal community of La Boca, Chile, several hours outside of the capital, Santiago, they shared an inseparable bond that had carried them through an astonishing 74 years of marriage. While the two weren't exactly living it up in a mansion, the humble life they lived always managed to provide. Manuel's work as a boater and fisherman ensured that the couple would always have food on the table. However, in January of 2015, Estela's life would see some major changes on the horizon, setting off a chain of events that would result in an unbelievable revelation. 2015 would prove to be a very rough start for Estela. Her 74-year marriage would at last be broken, as she'd one day wake up to find that Manuel had quietly passed on at the age of 91. Being only a year younger, Estela would struggle with the daily realities of being home alone, managing the house alone, and cooking for one. After having spent 3/4 of a century building a life with her soulmate, the loss must have been incalculable. They'd lived through far too many experiences to quantify them all, and that included some memories better left forgotten. The two both held one giant regret. Estela and Manuel always felt remorseful about not being able to have a family. It was something that they both longed for, but carry on, they found out that Estela was unable to conceive and get pregnant. When interviewed and asked to look back on her long life having gone by without a family to raise, Estela simply remarked, "We suffered tremendously for this reason." The reason behind Estela not being able to have a baby was a mystery for decades. However, she would find out only a few years before her husband passed that she had a long-standing tumor in her uterus. This could have been the reason all along, but she'd soon discover that the tumor would be the least of her issues. By the year following Manuel's passing, the widowed Estela would find herself unfortunately facing a slew of medical issues. She would find that her hearing began to go rapidly, and her mobility quickly dwindled. On top of this, she developed a severe case of arthritis, and things only continued to get worse after her 91st birthday. While her body was already slowing down significantly, things would change when Estela would trip and fall while tending to her home. While the fall didn't cause any permanent damage, it was an eye-opener for the elderly woman, and she knew that she'd have to make some changes in her life. It had become obvious to Estela that her body was giving way, as performing basic tasks alone began to require a lot of effort. She contacted her friend and pleaded for a ride to the 𝐂𝐤𝐤𝐵𝐶 Hospital in San Antonio. It was no simple 4 blocks away to see her doctor, but would require finding someone who could take her on a journey of 40 miles. Concerned over the fall, the doctors wanted to put Estela through a full body x-ray. At her age, the doctor knew she really couldn't afford to take any heavy damage. It was during the x-ray process that they would discover something that would leave them deeply startled. To begin with, the doctors that examined Estela thought that they were merely looking at something they'd already seen, a second tumor. Tumors were nothing new to her, as she had had a bout with cancer back in the 1980s. However, wanting to be sure of their findings, the doctor decided to perform a second x-ray. That's when they found out that they'd been very wrong about Estela's condition. After carefully analyzing their find, they came to the conclusion that Estela had never had a tumor in the first place.
Wow.
What she was carrying inside of her was something far more serious than a mere tumor. Estela was technically pregnant. She'd been carrying the remains of a long-deceased fetus.
Wow.
Taking a shot when they...
Wow. So she was carrying the fetus of her lost child for 60 years. That has to, like, I wonder how did that have to affect her body? Like, did that not mess with like her pH or something? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when her husband was alive, let's say 50 years ago, 10 years after she lost a kid. Because if her husband went down and you know what I'm saying? Like, did he smell or taste anything? Like, I know this is a pretty serious video. I mean, it's an amazing video as well to just know that it's possible. But the fact that she's been carrying a kid and lost and I don't know. It just this whole situation just confused me, like, completely. It's not like one of them situations where, like, you know, I don't know. This situation is weird, bro. But, like, just think about it. Like, I know it's had to be in some type of smell coming from down there, and the fact that the husband didn't care is crazy, bro. Like,
they learned how long it had been inside of her. After studying the fetus, doctors were able to conclude that she had been pregnant with it for roughly 60 years. The news had to have come as devastating to Estella. All her life, she and Manuel wanted nothing more than a child to raise, seemingly deprived of this ability. While all the while, her unborn child was unknowingly inside of her for more than half a century. The reality of her situation shocked Estella, her doctors, and many locals in their corner of Chile. Not many people had ever heard of such a terrifying condition. And yet, as it turns out, Estella's condition wasn't as mysterious as many people might have thought. Estella's condition is called lithopenia, and it affects a small percentage of women across the world.
yeah, I gotta look that up. I never heard of lithopedia, but I have to look that up now, especially, like, you know, I plan on having one. So I need to make sure, like, that's not the case, you know.
The names of these fetuses themselves are lithopedians or stone babies. These unique specimens are the result of a fetus that begins to develop outside of a pregnant woman's womb. These kind of fetuses are extremely risky for both mother and child, and if not handled quickly, the condition can result in the demise of both. However, if the fetus is small and undeveloped, it can be gradually absorbed into the pregnant mother's body. And yet, this wasn't the case with Estella. What doctors saw in this elderly woman was something that had been scarcely seen in modern history. If the fetus is too developed, it won't be absorbed by the mother. Rather, it calcifies in the uterus. Usually, people with a stone baby will just go into surgery and get it removed. Sadly, the doctors determined that this wouldn't be a possible route for 91-year-old Estella. Surgery wasn't something she was likely to survive. Well, the news wasn't encouraging.
Wow.
Ultimately, Estella said she didn't mind.
That's sad to know, like, I don't know, how would that feel for a woman to just know, like, her kid could have been around 60 years old, 59 years old, but man, like just to know that, I'm not gonna lie, if I would have been a woman, that kind of would have got me. And to know, like, she can't have surgery because, like, the age, you know, and her, I guess her cells and stuff is not growing as fast or to repair, because they even said, like, personally, she wouldn't be able to make it if she had a bone injury, because, like, you know how they go, like, if an old person break a bone, the recovery is going to be crazy because their bones and their, you know, stuff doesn't grow like it does when they're younger. You know what I'm saying? But dang.
As it had reminded her of her late husband. Well, the news of the stone baby was all around another layer of tragedy, added on to an already rough time in her life. Not everything the doctor told her lingered in bad light. On one hand, Estella and her husband's biggest dream was under their noses all along, and they never had the chance to recognize it together. Well, that alone is very tragic. Estella dethroned a belief that had often made her feel awful throughout the majority of her life. She lived her whole life feeling like she was a bit less than everyone else. Estella had to see her sisters and friends have children while she remained childless, in a time and place where rearing children was the norm. It was an incredible revelation, and she couldn't just come home from the hospital and adjust back to her quiet life. Discovering someone who had been carrying a child for over half a century wasn't something that everyone surrounding Estella was going to graze over and ignore. As news spread to an international level, people around the world were intrigued by this elderly woman and wanted to know more about her story. Estella soon found herself at the center of a media explosion. The Washington Post, ABC, NBC, CNN, all rushed over to Chile to get the elderly woman's story. While most would expect to see the elderly woman burst into tears in the face of such pressure, her response was actually something that caught the watching However, the young lady's comment didn't end on that sad note. She further stated, I guess one way of looking at it is that they did have a child and she carried it around with her for 60 plus years. And now, since they won't remove it, she still has a part of him with her. In an unusual sort of way. While many were baffled, others found the story strangely relatable. While Estella's definitely isn't a condition that's heard about on a daily basis, one can argue that it's way more common than one might assume. A woman named Lauren Pearl wrote in commenting on the story, and she described how her sister also had been pregnant with a stone baby in her, albeit not her own one, according to doctors. Lauren explained, this happened to my sister. She had no idea until she was pregnant with my niece. It was her own twin. As crazy as it sounds, it isn't super uncommon. Most people just never know. She had complications which revealed it. With that said, many are wondering what's going on with Estella today. In her 90 plus years of life, there's no way that Estella could have imagined that she'd be at the center of a media outburst as she was. Well, most people get their 15 minutes of fame much earlier on in life, if they get it at all. Estella Melendez had her moment in the sun, though it was due to a strange medical condition and came in the wake of a tragedy. Now, in the years since her massive exposure in the press, she's managed to steer clear of headlines, retreating back into the quiet routine of daily life in her small Chilean seaside community.
Well, I mean, I guess that's the end of the video, but that's pretty crazy to find out that somebody's been, I say emotional as well, to find out that she's been pregnant for about 60 years. Like, just imagine if y'all have been trying to have a kid for all these years that y'all have been married and it's just never failed. I don't understand too at that. How could the doctors, I'm not sure where she's from. I think they said she's from, what's that? I said it, La Boca. I'm not sure how the doctors is out there in La Boca, but I'm positive if they would have been pretty good doctors, they would have been able to tell, like, okay, something's not right. We see this. I'm positive that that's probably why they told her that she wasn't able to have a kid, because she had a tumor in her stomach or her fetus or whatever it is. But I don't know. I would have been very disappointed, at least my previous doctors, for not, seeing that. Even when, besides me being a woman, if I knew I was with this girl for the rest of my life and I knew I wanted to have some type of family with her, and the fact that we could have had that family if we could have had that surgery and it was not able to happen, I'm not gonna lie, I would have been hurt. But I mean, y'all let me know y'all thoughts on this entire opinion. I say on this entire opinion, on this entire video. Y'all let me know y'all opinion on this entire video. Y'all get it. And about this woman being pregnant, I'm not sure if she's still alive to this day, but it can be 65 years. But yeah, like I said, y'all let me know y'all thoughts down below, man. Make sure if y'all enjoyed the video, y'all like, comment, and subscribe for your boy. And we out. Ski!